Yeah, I should really start the show instead of jamming out to the beat. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned into the Blitz Morning Show, Thursday edition, which should have been yesterday, but I had a little mishap. I am your host, Toby Brendel, and I'll be with you for the next little while. Well, let's do take two. I'm having a horrible week this week. Nothing's really working out the way that I wanted to. And it started off on Tuesday with... That's going to come up next. But before we get started, when I mean take two, I mean I already had a show. It was done. It was like 20 minutes long. It was a good show. Brought topics to the table. Did a good chunk of it. Paused it, went in, did a client, came out, unpaused it, started recording again, to find out my microphone was frickin' muted. And I'm thinking to myself, how many minutes was it muted and how much of the show went silent? I'm pretty sure there was like a good 10 minutes of silence on the show. And of course I never looked. Hence why I want to go with the studio. So, like I said, here's take two. Let's get it on. Let's get it going. And on Tuesday was a very interesting day for a good chunk of the province that I was in. Why should you care? Good question. It was actually quite interesting, though. This is something that can affect anybody at any time, anywhere in the world. And I know there's parts of the world that gets affected more often. It's just funny because there was a good chunk of my province that was actually out of power. It happened probably a little after 9 o'clock in the morning. I drove past their 7-Eleven, lights were working, got to my first major client, walked in, no power. It's like, really? Joked with the guys and they're like, yeah. Started naming off cities. They're all out of power. It's like, yeah, right. You're just pulling my leg. Pull out my old cell phone. Typed in sasspower.com. Wow. Let me tell you, there was a chunk of power out. Like, it just blew me away. It frickin' blew me away on how much power was knocked out. Some of them, half an hour, maybe hour. There's people on my route for my coffee run that was out for more than 24 hours of no power. Oh, the humanity for some of these people. God, it was... Just even the thought of no power for how many hours. And it was comical because of the people who are messaging and commenting and stuff like that saying, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have enough power in my cell phone to charge it. Meanwhile, I'm looking at my cell phones, my personal and my work, plugged in, charging. Meanwhile, you have other people that are like, oh, I'm going to lose power in my cell phone. Oh, that's why you always have a spare backup battery pack, which I need to get or charge. Or both. Then yesterday, the reason why there wasn't a show was my van had to go in to get fixed because there's something wrong because my ABS, brake light, and airbag light are on, but you hit the cruise button, the cruise light turns on, but sadly, it doesn't engage. So I took it in. They thought they fixed it. That wasn't it. But then again, they also fixed tie rod ends on the left and the right side. And man, my van drives so freaking smooth. It's like driving a brand new Kia Stinger. Okay, I lied. It's not like driving that. My van is a horrible piece. It's so slow. No, it can't be as bad as the one van I picked up. 135 kilometers an hour. Maximum. Now that was scary. Topics. I see my topics. I think I can get you guys topic-wise. Scrolling through Twitter news, there was an article that really caught my eye. And it was the rapper Soulja Boy has released a bunch of video games. Well, not video games, but a system and a handheld that plays retro games like Game Boy, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, etc., etc. It's a system that actually isn't that bad price-wise, and I might actually think about getting. You click on the comments, and the number one trending comment was suing. Nintendo sues them, blah, 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 this, that, whole knick-knack, paddywhack, give a dog a boner. Well, you know, I can understand, but at the same time, they don't know all the legal blah, 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 blah. So I don't know if Soulja Boy actually paid the legal fees, licensing, etc., etc. But yet people are still jumping off the bandwagon saying that he never. All I know is I have to convince the girlfriend to let me buy it because there's a bunch of Nintendo games, things like that, and I swear that there's a PlayStation 1 emulator built inside. So if that's the case, I want it, and I want it like fucking now. Too bad it wouldn't take PlayStation 1 memory cards, because there's one particular game that I love, and it's Gran Turismo. I had such a souped up car on that, nobody could beat me. Absolutely nobody. I was like number one. If I could find a copy of that game for me to plop in and to play, I could get stats to galore, everything, post it, and basically show everybody what I created. This is going to be a little bit of a tangent twist. Ooh, I like that one. Tangent twist of this, my stories. But this car was the Chrysler Copperhead, or the Dodge concept car. I know I talked about it before, but it's one of those cars that no matter what they did, they could not beat me. The quarter mile was 10 seconds. My buddy Ernie had a Skyline R33 that just absolutely was fine-tuned, was one of the quickest cars ever, and it still couldn't beat me. Toyota Supra still couldn't beat me. Like, these cars were in the 9-second cars. I had an R32, an R33. The Supra was in the 9 seconds. True, you can destroy me on the straightaway, but as soon as I got into the corners, my acceleration was so fast, because the way that I had it tuned is in the quarter mile. As soon as it hit that quarter mile mark, boom, top speed was 200 miles an hour. That was it. It was one of the best setups that I've ever did. I do have a memory card that will allow me to play it. The only issue is trying to find the game itself. That's going to be one of the hard issues of it. Okay, let's head her back. The other interesting Twitter news was rapper 2 Milli is trying to sue Fortnite for the use of one of his dances. To this day, I never knew who 2 Milli was until I see this article. And I don't know if it's a deploy for people to go to YouTube and watch his videos with his dance, or if he's actually trying to sue. Because if he's saying he's going to sue Fortnite for the use of his dance move, That's okay. But if he uses it the other way, where it's more or less like clickbait, where people will Google his name, type in dance, they click on it, and go straight to his videos with the dance, and that's going to be even a much sweeter clickbait artistry. He could probably make more money off the clicks from YouTube than he probably could from Fortnite, and he'd probably get his money from YouTube a lot quicker too. So if this is true, he's a very smart man. Alright, I don't know how many of you are hockey fans. Yes, I am talking sports. Now the NHL has 32 teams. The team in Seattle has been approved. They have to fork over $650 million for the franchise tag, or the franchise fee. Stupid tooth. As well as a $700 million upgrade to their stadium. $700 million to the stadium. Like, wow, man. One of the weirdest parts about this whole entire story was they still have not figured out the name for the team. One of them that I seen, which I thought were kind of cool, was the Seattle Krakens. Yet then they go and say, well, Seattle Supersonics, which is basketball. So it's going to be interesting to see. My question is, are they actually going to be able to keep this team in that city? That's the biggest question. Later, after that particular day that it was announced, saying they approved this new team, I was talking to a guy on my route, and I mentioned about the St. Louis Blues getting transferred up to Saskatoon here in Saskatchewan. And of course, the NHL had nothing to do with it and said no. Alright, I can understand 1970s, the population here was a little low. Not denying it. Will it work now? So many people are throwing their hands in the air and saying, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Ah! It'd be interesting to actually see and try if it worked. Why am I talking about this? It's the conversation that this guy and I actually had, and his arguments towards my statements, my opinions, my facts. This guy was saying, oh yeah, you can't build a stadium for less than 20,000 people. It's in the guidelines. It'll never happen. Nobody's going to travel 5 hours to go watch a game. Then when I mentioned about, sharing, and he goes, nobody's going to go to 80-some games. I'm just kind of giggling in the back of my head. It's like, okay, first of all, there's like 41 home games, not 82. 41 games within how many months? It's absolutely doable. Then on top of that, if you break it down even more, you're going to have the season tickets, and you're going to have the single sales, which will be people from Edmonton, Calgary, and even Winnipeg. Oh, hell, Minnesota probably would even travel up here. So there's a lot of possibilities of people coming in, people having fun, because it's, a new team, new city. And he goes, nobody's going to go drive for 5 hours, watch a hockey game for 3, grab food, and come back home. So I mentioned one of the guys that I talked to, John. He will actually go from Estevan to Minot, hop in the train, go from Minot to Minneapolis, watch a NFL game, and travel back the exact same night. And he goes, well, that's a different sport. But he kept bringing up football, saying people can do that because it's one game a week. I just wanted to start laughing and call him interesting for the simple fact his business opinions don't actually suit anything anymore. For example, people are willing to spend how many thousands of dollars for season tickets, share it with 2 or 3 friends, or even sell the tickets alone to cover the cost. So you're trying to tell me that a Winnipeg-Saskatoon rivalry wouldn't work because it won't have enough people. But yet, if it's a sold-out packed stadium, you could probably get $200 for 2 tickets. Now, that would be a sweet deal. Alrighty, I'm just doing my tangent rant about stupid sports. But until then, you can always get a hold of me at theblitzmorningshow@gmail.com. You can head over to Facebook, look for our page, message us that way. Or even hit me up on Twitter at coffeeman_radio. And I will catch you on Saturday with an episode. So until then, thank you for tuning into the Blitz Morning Show. I'm your host. My name is Roy Brendel, and I will see you in a few days.